Hi everyone. So we are going to chat with the Westside team here just shortly with Julie and Joe Horgan. I'm going to go ahead and invite them here and we'll start our chat. Hi.
Hi.
Hi there.
How are you?
Great. How are
Good.
you?
Good. That went smoother than I thought it was going.
Nice.
Well, thanks for
How's your
having
morning
us.
going?
Yeah, great. Thanks
Good.
for having us.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, we're
You guys having a busy day so far?
Yes.
It's always busy.
Always.
Good.
We got
Which
3
is good.
teenagers, and you know that, so
Yep.
busy time.
All that stuff. Are they all are they still doing it homeschooling?
They are.
Good. Yeah.
3 different schools, 3 online, 3 different workstations. Got to keep them separate.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Well, thank you for coming on here. I kind of just wanted to chat, let everyone know. I guess the Westside team, Joe, we've worked together for years and years. I was just trying to remember how many years you've been with Pointe3. Do you remember?
Decade?
Yeah,
About 10.
10 plus.
Yeah, I think it's right about there.
Yeah, and I've always enjoyed working with you and your work ethic, and I just think that you guys together as a team rock. And you're kind of situated over there in West Seattle, so you kind of have a little niche over there. But yet, I know, Joe, you kind of cross paths of condos, and you do more than that up north, south, basically, anywhere. So why don't we kind of start off and just chat a little bit about how you kind of got in the business, because you started from more of the mortgage background, right?
Yeah, I was in mortgage quite a few years. Of course, the mortgage industry had its 07, 08, crisis. That changed a lot. I had been licensed since 04. So I had my license while also doing mortgage, which has changed quite a bit. It wasn't, the regulations were different then. And I was working with buyers, and then also was a designated broker at a mortgage company. When the mortgage crisis happened, that was just my time to make a change. I had always really enjoyed real estate, and for a number of different reasons, was just drawn to that. And at that time, it was just the right move to make the full jump. It was soon after that I came on at Pointe3. So
Yeah.
And then just built things up from there.
Good. And you kind of started like we all have in the company, really on the rental, starting with the rental aspect, taking on the leasings and doing that. So you ramped up your business kind of that way. And then also you transitioned to doing kind of property watch, which is kind of one of those designations in our company that there's only, a few people cross over into absolutely everything. And so right now, how many properties do you have under property watch?
About 40.
Gotcha.
Yeah, about 40 right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at one point you were above 50, right? Or well above.
Yeah.
50.
At one point it was quite a bit above that.
Yeah.
And when I found our company, one of the things I liked was there was more work activities I could do to make a living, right? There were different ways to service clients than just pure sales. I knew I wanted to do pure sales. I was doing some sales, but to be able to handle investor clients, help them do leasing, meet tenants, and then, my thought process with some construction background was, I could manage condos as well and really just work to make our clients, sticky. It's like, hey, I don't have to refer you over to somebody else. You can always work with me and just build those relationships. So I kind of had that long outlook, more diversified approach, partly based on past experience and partly based on, what I enjoy and how I like to do it. And it's worked out really well.
Yep, I think so. And just even looking at your business and the clients that you've retained over the years, I bet you're seeing some now that you're either selling their property or they're coming back around. They're 10-year clients, at this point.
Yeah.
It's so funny too, because I've had a couple aha moments this year where, I'm selling a property that I've worked on like literally 15 years, right? And maybe even the owner hadn't even stepped in their foot inside that property during the whole entire time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that goes on for sure. But yeah, that's good.
The other piece that's interesting is, we deal with so many out of state and even out of country clients. And so sometimes I've worked with, and I'm sure you have as well, for years and years and years and never had the opportunity to meet them face to face. Right. It was mostly it's phone, it's email. It's just, they haven't, I love meeting them when they're in town. we just had clients from Chicago and we met them on Monday, you know, so I love to be able to meet clients face to face, but of course then you've got the pandemic part. So that's a whole different thing. But sometimes over the years, the logistics of meeting face to face, it just doesn't, you know, allow, but you build that relationship that way. And then over years, you know, sell. And I've had some clients there where it's like, wow, I technically never met them like in person, which is different, you know, but you gotta love technology.
Yep. That's a good thing about our business too. And we do work with a lot of investors. And so it's fair to say that a lot of those investors, you know, maybe they start off local, but then they move away, or they, you know, just have live overseas or out of state or whatnot. And this is kind of their asset. And they need someone that can, you know, give them, I guess, the guidance on all different levels. It's renting it out, it's managing it, it's then letting them know what their property values are, and then consulting with them on when should they sell, should they buy another property, like all those different things. So I think that's, you know, a very good trifecta, being a kind of a one-stop shop resource for all your clients.
Yeah, being a resource and being an expert. One of the things that couple said, because I have worked with them in all facets of what I do, right? So they had a condo, rented it out, managed it for them, sold it for them, helped them buy a house. One of the few that I manage that is a house, because I really like them a lot. And again, I want to service and go beyond for good clients. And them not really knowing Seattle, they kind of picked Seattle. They wanted to eventually retire here, but didn't know a lot about it. And they were commenting, they're like, we don't know how we would have possibly done this without your expertise, without, you know, me and Julie being able to tell them different things about all kinds of aspects of whether it's, you know, different areas, you know, where they would truly want to land, helping them through that transition where they thought they were going to retire in a condo, but then they decided, you know what, we would really like a home, especially since they have family that are out of state and they want to visit. And so it's been a unique, you know, kind of organic process over 7 years. But yeah, I think that's the key for our clients, is not only being a resource, but also being an expert resource.
Yep. And I think you are also another thing that you're very good at is the details and like listening and being able to kind of identify those different things that they, like you said, it's a 7-year process, right? Of finding the right place for someone and kind of really honing in on what their needs are. Yeah. But also you love the details too. Which
well, and that's, I appreciate that. You know, one thing about adding Julian as a partner and running the business this way now is, it's kind of fun now meeting with clients, and having both of us do it, because there's retaining that many more details as you're having these conversations. And she's really good at retaining, like I'm a very, you know, nuts and bolts, get it done, you know, really business oriented part of it. And she adds a level of personal detail orientedness, and just picks up on nuances that can be helpful and that we can feather in as we're going down this journey. And so that's been kind of a neat thing, to have these other little gaps filled, to just become a better team, a better resource, a better agent for people. That's been pretty cool for us, and for me, for sure.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. And Julie, you're a rock star, and you kind of have the marketing, because I guess let's segue into how you kind of got started too, in real estate, and kind of your background.
Well, I'd been in restaurant business for 25 years before. And I love that. I love talking to people. As Joe always says, he's like, you're so chatty. I talk to everybody in the grocery store line and everything. I don't care. So that has definitely served me well, being in the restaurant business. And so as our kids got older, and you know, the restaurant business it's just a lot of hours and very tiring. Not that real estate isn't, but it's just different, you know. So we just decided to kind of make a switch. And you know, with Joe being in the business for ever, it seems like, I just always was there with him anyway. And we did a lot of things together naturally, and it just kind of made sense, you know. So then, Yeah, it was very organic. So then I had decided to get my license, and as you know, I do the photography as well. So I love doing that as part of my creative outlet. So yeah,
Yeah,
it all
nice. So
kind of
you
worked out.
so then exploring that too. So then you do all the photography, and are
Mhm.
you doing video now too?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
video and the
Yeah, all you
360
guys stuff rock.
tours. Yeah, yeah, everything. So whatever we, especially during the, when COVID hit,
Yep.
it made sense to do, all the video and everything where people were literally didn't have to even get into the property until they knew exactly that they wanted to see it in person. So we just tried to figure out every way that was, made it comfortable for people.
Yep. Well, good. Is there, I guess, you being that working as a team together, how has COVID been this last year in terms of just, in terms of working at home and building your business?
I mean, it's different, obviously. It's very
Yeah.
different. Being in West Seattle and having our main offices in Fremont, I never went there a lot to sit and work. I mean, between running around, running downtown, Capitol Hill, Queen Anne, and West Seattle, of course, either running around the field and, on my phone and doing those kinds of things, or working from the home office. I was by and large doing that anyway, right?
Yep.
So that didn't change a lot. The having the kids home all day, that's been different. But it's manageable. I mean, we've kind of adjusted to a system that works. We've got a completely separate workspace. In fact, ours is on a different floor than everything else. So that works fine. It's just a little different, but I think we're probably fortunate being in the job we are, where we have some flexibility in terms of like hours, right? Like if I know my kids need some help with, math, for example, I can go, okay, I got to sit down with them for 45 minutes in the middle of the day, take them through this thing. And it's awesome that I'm able to do that. And then I know that there are just certain things. Of course, there's time sensitive stuff in what we do, but sometimes I can just work late and pick some things up. So for us, we probably were able to adjust, more easily, just in terms of all the different logistics than say if I had to travel a lot for work, if I had to go out of town, if I had to go to an office, that would be just a completely different deal. So we're pretty fortunate that way. And just like everyone, you don't have a choice. You got to make it work. You got to find a system. So you make the adjustments and you go.
Yeah, it's funny. We've all now got our rhythm down operating in COVID, and now everything's starting to open up. Now
I know.
What do we
We're
do?
like, wait a minute. No,
wait a minute.
Figure this out.
Just got it figured out.
Right.
But yeah. So predominantly, I guess, going back to like the sales side, and I think this is just kind of the nature of, how we list rental properties, and then that naturally leads to listings. Do you think you're more listing heavy in your workspace? Are you more buyer heavy, or where do you find kind of your balance between the two?
It's fairly even. I think it's fairly even, which is nice because we enjoy doing both. We love working with buyers, getting out into houses, helping them through the process, which of course right now has a lot of challenges, especially like our house buyers. But then of course, for all the investor clients that eventually want to sell. I mean, I just talked to one this morning who has a tenant that's terminating early. What do you think about selling? And I just talked to another one yesterday about it. So that comes up over time, and then of course those turn into listings, but I'd say it's pretty even actually.
Yep. Are you, when people are asking how the market is, obviously with the buyers, it's a seller's market, so really competitive for buyers, but I know you deal with a lot of condos too. Which is a whole nother beast. What are you kind of counseling your clients for this year in terms of holding, or this is the time to sell? Do you have any advice there that you're giving your condo owners?
Yeah, and I have that conversation often because I just a couple weeks ago had another one where she was set to sell this spring when the tenants were coming up, and they're just the best tenants. They're just fabulous. They haven't left their unit because one has some compromises health-wise. They literally haven't left their place in a year, including her son living like a half a mile away. right? It's just such a weird time. It's
Yeah.
just so surreal.
Yeah.
But talking with her and talking about their goals and why they're selling and things like that, you know, and having such a great tenant, you know, she landed at their comfort level being give it another year. Now, having said that, what I tell folks is, I mean, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be on the beach, right? But having said that, with rates inching up, there is this buyer anxiety and this buyer push right now. So that's something to take advantage of. Of course, you got time of year that's now working in our favor. Things get busier this time of year as you go. And just not knowing what the future holds, right? I mean, you could intuitively say, okay, the vaccine's being rolled out, maybe in a year, like we're, I don't know, 80% back to being like normal the way it was before. It's like, you know, COVID is becoming a more and more distant kind of thing, and then just like active and right in the middle of it. And you can see the improvements, right? We're experiencing the improvements where people are getting out more, they're getting more comfortable. You know, Inslee is going to different phases that allow us to go out more. I mean, you know, Mariner games are opening up. They can have fans there now. So it's happening. That process is happening, which is making people more comfortable to move forward than have something on pause and not be sure, you know? So I tend to be a bird in the hand person. I think it's with how low inventory is, especially for houses. Now condos are a bit of a different deal, but you know, what we know now is it's still a really good time to sell. And interest rates, it's a great time to take advantage of those, to have buyers taking advantage because they're really concerned about locking in. So, you know, my advice is, you know, if you're at all on the fence, it's a very good time now to do it, to take advantage of those things that you know what they are right now. You may not know what they're going to be in a year.
Yep, I agree with that. And I think that we're kind of, especially with the downtown condo market too, we're seeing a lot more activity, a lot, like there's plenty of condos that have went on and off the market in 2 to 5 days, which we were not seeing that, you know, anytime last year, even the year before. We weren't really seeing that in 2019 either. So I feel like we are in rental rates, you know, downtown, as you probably experienced too, they kind of go hand in hand. So you have rental rates relax a little bit downtown or significantly. I mean, we could talk about that one unit that we had at Insignia, which is crazy. The 2-bedroom on the 20th floor, you know, rented for $3,000 a month. We could not even move that thing in December. And then all of a sudden the tenants broke their lease. We put it on the market and we just had so many people reach out. It was like insane. So it's just kind of a weird time of, you know, all of a sudden the switch, you know, flipped downtown especially. And now people are starting to move around. But the rental rates, as those tighten too, obviously the condo market will tighten with it just because it becomes more economical to purchase than it is to rent. But right now it's kind of upside down to where it's more economical still to rent. So
and you know, adjusting to that migration that went out, you know, like I'm sure our Enumclaw office and team, you know, they've been just bonkers down there. I was talking to an agent from Aberdeen not long ago, and she goes, there are people relocating to Aberdeen like I've never seen. I mean, I've grown up here, and it's like, you know, they have houses that are jumping significantly. So there's just people who can work at home, like they, you know, Suncadia, you know, people moving out there permanent. You know, it's that was, I mean, before COVID, that was a by and large vacation, maybe retirement destination, right? And now it's like you got people relocating out there to live. That's such a different dynamic now. So for how that has migrated out and kind of like gone out because of COVID, I think you're just starting to see the contraction. And I think there's going to be more contraction as vaccine gets rolled out, we get COVID behind us. We're probably going to make adjustments, and there's going to be a new normal to a degree. You know, employers realizing, hey, work from home is viable. It actually can save us some money. We can do it this way. So I don't think in some ways we're ever going to completely go back, but downtown's still downtown, you know, and different parts of what attract people to different areas and how they want to live and their quality of life. There will be that contraction.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. And I do think that the people that, you know, maybe have jumped the gun a little bit and ended up going, you know, outwards a little bit, maybe too far. They're going to have to get a spot back in the city, and whether they end up renting a studio or they buying a small like pied-à-terre, I think that might be the next wave of of people maybe coming back is like those, the smaller footprints, which we all before this were like, no, everyone wants space. But maybe it is that there's a couple buildings or, the smaller studios that have been ignored are the ones that are like the hot to trot on the market just because, people just want a touchdown spot.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And it would be smart for them to get into it now while, prices aren't,
are
crazy.
lower. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we've been telling our people that are looking at, like, buy a condo.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. And actually there was a couple clients or other agents that were counseling their clients, sell your house now, downsize, put your stuff into storage, downsize, buy either rent or buy a condo.
Right.
And then just kind of like, and then at that point, after the market maybe settles on the house side, buy a house after that, but just take advantage of.
And then rent out your condo or sell it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we, as agents, we all have to think outside the box right now and give those options to our buyers. So yeah,
for sure.
What we've been doing.
Yeah. Good. Are you guys working on anything right now that's exciting, or, you have some listings coming up?
Yeah, we've got a First Hill listing. We've got a few listings coming up. I've been talking to some people in West Seattle, Queen Anne, talking about one on there, and to talk about things moving faster. There's 4 sales in the building the past 6 months that are just like his, and it went 30 days, 167 days, and then 6 and 8 days. So you kind of see that progression, and you see when, of course, it's marketed right as well. There's buyers out there, right? So working on that, just closed with some buyers that faced a really competitive market, but got on their 6th one, got a house they absolutely love. They're just so happy. And so that was exciting, and going through that journey with them, because they're so happy now. So just working with buyers, sellers, doing our thing, and staying busy.
Good. And where was that one that you won? Where was the market? Was it Seattle?
It was over by UW.
Oh, gotcha.
Over down in there. It was basically like Laurelhurst, but just
Bryant.
Yeah.
Bryant. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Bryant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we all heard about the house. I think had 52 offers, and would just every single day. It's funny because I watch the, when someone sends an offer out, and then I just always cross my fingers. Let's get the mutual back in the inbox.
Right.
A lot of people submitting offers right now for sure.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, when I first started hearing about those numbers, right? I mean, I used to think, gosh, a dozen. And then you hear something like 18. It's like, wow, that's insane. We'll never see more than that. Now it's like 50.
Yeah, it's like the next level. I mean, I remember those numbers even being reported back in like the height of the market.
Yeah.
And then, it's funny. I was just reminiscing on a condo that I'd sold at Newmark back in like 2015, I think it was 14, 15, when everyone was doing like cash. Everyone had cash, right? And I had 14 offers on this little 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It was about 600 square feet. And that was probably the most I'd seen for offers in the downtown core. And that was great. I mean, think of how the time and energy it takes to even organize that, and then have to keep on top of that's a whole nother job in itself.
Right.
Oh yeah. Get back to everybody. And I mean, you're talking in the 40s or 50s. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, anything else you want to touch on, about you guys, and let people know how awesome you are?
Gosh, I don't know. We're based in West Seattle. We love it. We've been here many, many years, raised our family here, now we got teenagers. So we're housed in West Seattle. I mean, the thing I've always loved about West Seattle is how close it is to get out and still service my, clients on Queen Anne, downtown, Capitol Hill,
even
Mount
with
Baker. Yeah. Make it work. It's harder, but you figure out how to adjust. We'll see if I think the last I heard is middle of next year. Well, I guess middle of this year was when there's no way. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah. The bridge repair.
But yeah.
Oh,
but if it's in the next couple of years, and it will be, and I think everybody knows it, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of they've got a plan. I mean, for a long time they didn't even have a plan. Now they have a plan. They'll get it figured out. That'll come back. But yeah, we make adjustment, and
we're not even seeing housing being affected
You know what is so funny is that actually there's a couple other people that I've been talking about just recently. It came up, the West Seattle market has just been crazy, is what everyone keeps on saying. And it was almost like, and I think the last year when all this was going down, we are all like, well, West Seattle, West Seattle. But I think in itself, it's turned, and maybe actually work from home has turned it into its own beast where people are like, it's okay. We don't need the bridge. We're working from home. And so it's actually created this little bit of and literally everything you need is in West Seattle. Anyway.
Right. Gosh, I'm so sorry. I got a phone
did someone
call.
call? Oh, yeah. That happens.
Yeah, we could see you, just couldn't hear.
Oh,
yeah, that's so funny. But what we were talking about is the West Seattle market, how like everyone thought doom and gloom, but really it's kind of taken off. I have a couple listings that I'm bringing on it, like random stuff in May. And I just feel like I've been kind of watching the numbers and just like the people that are, purchasing and the days on market over there. And it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it really is. And it's just like all the other neighborhoods that's, they're hearing the same thing. It's just here. It's same thing. It's over $200,000, that they're closing at, and it's over list. It's crazy.
Is your inventory numbers? I'm assuming that they're down over there as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty tight market.
Yeah. As soon as something comes on, it's just gone. Like everyone's doing reviews. Mm-hmm. I heard a lot of people are trying to move to like Spokane and that kind of stuff, but or out of state because no one wants to be on the buyer side in West Seattle. Yep. So that's why a lot of sellers are just holding on. But I think a lot of people thought in the beginning when the bridge went down, oh, this is a good time to get into West Seattle. Because people love living in West Seattle. It's just, it's just still a little small community, even though it's not small, but it's just very charming, and it's got a lot of mom and pop shops and restaurants. So people love it, and people always want to live in here, live in West Seattle, and they're thinking, okay, so once the bridge went down, we're going to get into West Seattle. We'll be able to get a good deal. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, no.
That didn't happen. So yeah, that was kind of the thought process there, but
inventory is just way too low. People are just hanging tight.
Yep, because where else are they going to go, right?
Yeah.
I also view West Seattle as kind of one of those neighborhoods too. It's like a lifelong thing. So you bring your family, you raise your family there. They end up staying. There's just like, it feels like a lot of people that I know
generations.
In West Seattle.
My best friend growing up. So they still live in North Admiral. The house he grew up in, his folks are still in on 42nd.
Yeah.
1 block north, his sister and her family are there. And 1 block north, him and his family are there. And his grandparents were born and raised here. Yeah. So it's just multi-generational West Seattle. And you see that actually a pretty good amount. A lot of people, when they, especially for people that relocate, once you kind of come to West Seattle, you don't usually leave unless there's a really big, you're going like out of state or whatever. But there's a lot of folks who are like, oh my gosh, once I land in West Seattle, I knew I was going to put down roots.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different types of housing too. So it's like you have the homes, but you have townhome product, you have apartments, and then you also have kind of the on the south end, you do have some more affordable housing, communities and down there too. So I feel like it's very evenly killed in terms of the offering to like all different demographics.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
Now it just needs like the light rail.
And the bridge.
And the bridge.
It'll be back.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, thank you for chatting with me today. It's always good to see you. And maybe we should do another check-in here as we get into like the crazy season and just see kind of what else is going on in the West Seattle market and kind of what you guys are seeing or experiencing.
Totally.
Definitely.
Anytime.
Cool. Sure. All right. You guys have a great day.
All right.
Thanks.
Talk
You
to
too.
later. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.